They were puzzled, Maxwell and all them, that in one system of measurements you get one value, but if you try to measure the quantity of electricity with another method of measurement, it gives you a value that's the speed of light off, even though there's no speed of light. That's what got everybody all, whipped up and created this relativity thing. It started with Maxwell.
Oh.
So there is no speed of light, but numerically and dimensionally it's there. So is it a speed or is it a relationship? It's a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a speed.
Right.
So none of this stuff is addressed. And at that time, it was thought about, but now it's just, no one even thinks of such a thing. No one even has a clue. You just sit down and peck your computer and get the wrong answer. Close the breaker and get the big blue flash.
So is any area of physics that you know of working with things that are accurate or not?
I'm not a physicist. All I know is keep your quarks out of my condensers.
That's a motto. That's a really good motto. Did you have another question, Robert?
Yeah. What are the problems of digital sound?
Distortion. It can't reproduce transients like the ones we were talking about.
Yeah.
They're incapable. Like I was telling with the telephone line, if the square waves get turned into spike waves, the amplifiers can't handle it, and they'll overload.
And the digital
thing, the slew, if the slew rate, the rate of change exceeds the stepping rate, then the whole thing just glitches on itself.
Right.
It produces a quantizing distortion and a spurious signal. That's why the choral music sounds so horrible when it's digitally reproduced.
Right.
It just trashes it. Because anytime they start making those waveforms, it just splatters.
Yeah.
They can't reproduce it.
Digital reproduction doesn't create the overtones like a human voice can.
Yeah, for hump and slap music, it's fine. But not for
the rest of the thing.
Not for real music.
Not for real music.
Phases, and references and stuff. In fact, actually, probably hump and slap and barking and all the rest of that stuff is the actual consequence of digital technology. Maybe that's the direction it's moving in.
Yeah.
Because the music is like that. It's very mechanical and fascist.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really musical.
Sure.
It's just lurching, kind of,
Lurching and angry.
Yeah. It's convulsive.
Convulsive.
That's
much different from Thomas Tallis. Your
Yeah.
coyote liked Thomas Tallis, of course.
Well, it wasn't Tallis, but it was one of his contemporaries. I couldn't find that. I got the complete Tallis, but I couldn't find that piece of music. So it might have been Palestrina or one of the other guys.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I liked it, and the coyote liked it too.
Good. Was there anything else, Robert?
Is there a spiritual aspect to electricity or music?
Yeah, but I can't define it right now.
Yeah.
But that's how it came about.
You don't talk much about your spiritual view of things, and do you have one? Have you formulated one?
Well, I try to avoid those kind of things, but that's what all these books are about, so I have to use that terminology.
Right.
So I'm not quite prepared for that now, but I
So
will be when the time comes.
Yeah.
Would you say we live in an electrical universe?
Well, that's definite.
That's definite.
So, I mean, it's pretty well understood in the 19th century that, all of this matter is really just an aggregation of electrical forces, and there is nothing solid. It's all electrical. That was all well understood up until the Einsteiniism set in and said there is no electricity.
That was 1965.
Yeah. Basically, Einstein and his followers, in their own way, said there is no electricity. And physicists suppress any activity of electrical. They don't want nothing to do with electricity. They have their little electron steel ball bearings and their little, material things, and that's it. That's as far as electricity goes. So physics has nothing to offer whatsoever to electrical engineering. Whatsoever. It's useless. Cannot be applied. Anything else that I just basically write this so I have something to do, and I can just throw it in the garbage can as well as try to put it on the air.
No, I think people interested in early music and early music performance will be very interested because this presents a scientific, mathematical basis for what they've known all along.
Right.
That the equal tempered scale just doesn't sound right, and this is why it doesn't sound right. So you've got an audience with the early music community.
Well, it seems that way. It seems to me whenever I give a talk on that kind of subject, like that Power of Music one, people, are more in tune with that than when I'm talking about other stuff.
Yeah.
So even if no one's thinking about it, making them think about it, identifying it, and they like the idea.
Yeah.
So there's a desire for it.
And the good thing is it won't get you into trouble. I don't see how it could.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
Because this modernistic element wants to destroy that way of thinking.
Even if it's music.
I've already experienced this with the invaders of San Francisco, because I've been into this for a long time. This isn't something recent.
Yeah.
Because I studied music in college for 2 years, and I have every note of Bach's music memorized.
Right.
Because I listened to all of it thousands of times with full, concentration and meditation.
Right.
And when I would ever say the harmonic statement, the harmonic laws of the universe, the people would go into a convulsive reaction in that statement. So there could be more opposition to this than anything I've ever done before.
Well,
it'd be by the same people.
By the same people.
Same people, whose aim is to destroy any evidence of this. They want their chaotic, relativistic universe.
That's it,
yep.
Isn't it? Yeah. That's all you get in this life is the relativistic universe.
Yep, and you're a piece of shit, and you have no place in it.
Yep.
Other than pay.
Yeah, we want your money.
Yeah. You pay, and then you die.
And then you die.
Yeah. There's some statement that some character gave on a movie I was watching. Some old, bag lady that, just before she got murdered, she made some statement. The only thing there is to do is work, pay, and die.
That's all you're required.
It's all free when you pay. What's that phrase? It's free with your paid subscription.
It's free with your paid subscription.
It's order now. But remember, certain restrictions apply.
Certain restrictions apply.
How many times have you heard that?
Yeah. Oh, and God is only available on Thursdays. I read that on a sign down the street.
Oh, yeah. Well, Saturday, I thought. But is it Thursday, too?
Yeah, it's Thursday.
Oh, okay. Just Thursday. Hit that God. There's so many of them.
Okay.
So would you say there's a spiritual aspect to music?
Well, that seems to be the main focus on all the books, because it's a spiritual symbolism. That's how it's portrayed. In other words, it symbolizes various spiritual elements. But I can't speak on authority in that matter.
You told us about that impulse wave you get with the chorus when the waves come together and you get that sharp.
Oh, right, the instantaneous transient.
Yeah, could a single person achieve that, or does that take a...
No, that has to be the more the merrier situation. Right.
It has to be...
The more harmonics, the skinnier it gets.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
finally it's that tiny little harmonic, that little 3033rd harmonic. Tiny little, one is the final one that just brings it into the deal. They all work their part, but it's oddly enough, the tinier ones are actually doing more than the bigger fundamental ones. Because they're the ones that fill in the last little gap.
Okay. What would you recommend to the audience to do at home to benefit from music?
Listen to it.
What kinds of music should they listen to?
Anything from Bach beforehand.
Okay.
So what I used to do at Landers is I would sit in between the speakers. And
crank it up.
Yeah, and feel because it makes geometrical patterns in space, like in those big cathedrals, the organ concerts.
Yeah.
Makes whole geometries in space. You can't see, but you can feel these little ball bearings moving through your body and stuff.
Yeah.
And it actually, it is like, shooting stuff through your body. You can feel it. Solid. You can feel these things move through your body. So I'd sit in between the speakers.
And listen to Bach organ music?
Well, feel the music.
Yeah.
Feel it.
What music were you listening to? Bach organ music? Bach choral music?
The organ music is what impacts the body because of the low frequencies.
Right.
And the harmonic additions, because the organ's the analog computer.
Yeah.
So you can get equal temperament screws it up. But the pipes are going to tend to lock through the manifold because they're all oscillators on a common air supply. And what you can do is you can get each pipe for each harmonic, and that's how you can produce those waveforms I was talking about.
Okay.
But equal temperament will complicate that situation.
Right.
But like I say, is the organ or even a string instrument, two strings going at once, one will try to lock the other if there's a harmonic relationship, and they'll pull themselves into phase.
And that's
how I kept my space diversity receivers in phase, because I didn't have a common oscillator. So what I did is I hooked the two oscillators together so they grab on each other. So when you're tuning, you don't get an even sweep. It tunes to a certain, then there's a lock-in range, and it snaps in, and then all of a sudden, the frequencies aren't tempered anymore. They're fixed. They pull themselves together.
Right.
One depending upon, which one's going to yield more than the other, and get them to lock in.
And when you're listening to music, that's what's happening when you have three different voices and they lock into a harmony with each other in the overtones.
Right.
And you get
these exotic waveforms.
Right.
Yeah. So to get an infinitesimal spike left, that would probably take 100 harmonics. In other words, you'd have to have, almost more strings or pipes or singers than is fittable. And, the person at the top would be screaming like a gnat, and the person at the bottom would be bellowing like an elephant.
Right.
Then you could get, the full
range,
megavolt reality. But nevertheless, from what I've watched on my instrumentation, these coil singers get phase unisons in their voices that cause, the amplifier to just start whacking up massive quantities of power.
Right.